What's up? It's me, ADRI.V The Go Getta, and I want to welcome you to the G Code podcast. You see, this is a place you go to get the pretty, the ugly, and the grind to success. There's always a story to be told, and everything that glitter ain't gold. So understand this, there is no need for the cheat code when you got the G Code. So get your notebooks and pens ready. It's time for us to get into it. Welcome to the G Code.
You are now listening to the G Code with ADRI.V.
Hey, my go-getters. Yes, welcome to another episode of the G Code. And that G, of course, is for go-getters, giving you them go-getter codes. You know, that energy for your energy. You feel me? And I'm just happy to be here. It is the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. And there's something about the first of the month that gives me this newfound creativity, this newfound focus. It's like in this month we kick off with, I'm going to make it happen. And this energy comes to me most of the time on Mondays, where I feel Monday is like a new refresh week and a new day to get to it. And normally I will kick off like new commitments on a Monday. Like I'm going to start saving money on Monday. I'm going to start eating better on Monday. I'm going to start focusing and doing X, Y, and Z on Monday. So I create these scenarios in my head about Monday being like this new day to kick off new habits. And I don't know about you, but I'm just happy that the first landed on a Wednesday. And I'm happy it landed on a Wednesday because Wednesdays are the days that I release my podcast. And Wednesday, I feel like, are the midweek of you making it to the end of the week. So it's like your midweek check-in, all right? So you G-check-in with me midweek to give you that extra energy to close out the week, all right? And so on a weekly basis, whether you getting me, okay, the go-getter ADRI.V, or you're getting my featured go-getter friends coming to the microphone to share their G codes to success, their dope stories of making it happen, to give you some energy and motivation to keep going after yours. You're going to definitely meet me here on Wednesdays, right? And this particular Wednesday, you're getting just me. And I'm going to give you a G code that I've recently discovered for myself. And I say recently because I feel like I've identified with it, and yet I finally decided to accept it. And I say accept it because life has been lifing. And let me just give you a quick life update. So, as I shared before in my past podcast episodes, battling with the loss of my mother, and of course she departed me 2 years ago. We have hit a new anniversary, and it still feels like yesterday. And the idea of still battling with the emotions and the grief. And I've shared before, grief is just love that you just cannot give to that person anymore. And grief is the price we pay for love, right? And with that, I've come to learning how to deal with it. So most recently, I lost a very close sister friend. She was my sorority sister on February 29th. And I thought her leaving us on the leap day is like so her, because she would just do everything extra unordinary, like just an out of the box person, true Aries to her core, a true energy bringer. And losing her as we were going into the month of which I began to learn that my mother was only had 2 to 3 weeks to live. I'll be trying to prepare myself for March, but it's also my birthday month and my sister's birthday month. So it was just with so many emotions going on, to where the idea of keeping consistency of even my podcast was just so debilitating. When you're just literally trying to keep afloat the consistencies of life. And sometimes in there, you have to just take a selah. You have to take a pause to really just handle what's in front of you and to deal with what is occurring and what's happening. So losing her really did a thing to me. I would share people that losing my mom put death in perspective of really going hard for what you want and going after your dreams. But losing a sister friend who's close in age put a sense of urgency. And understanding that, just the month of March, I was really working on flipping the script to change what March meant to me. And I decided to start really going after dreams and goals that I had of myself. And I was looking at trying to find, I've always wanted, let me just double back. I always wanted my own studio. I always wanted my own space to call my own, where I can create my podcast, do my radio show, create content, have meetings, and just build my empire. And I'm saying it because it's going to happen, right? And envision myself in such a place. And so I remember back in 2020, I started the pursuit of looking for a space. And then in 21, I had identified one, lost it. And then 2022 came, was looking at one, and my mom passed, and I just let that go. But then 2023 came, and I was like, I really want to make this happen. And so in 24, I found a space, identified it, and I was set to sign the lease literally March 1st. And like I shared, on February 29th, my friend left us. She departed, got her VIP access on into heaven. And it was so hard to go into the office the next day to be so happy about this transition I was making without one of my greatest cheerleaders there. But I had to learn during that time to try to look at life as, this is exactly why you have to sign. This is exactly why you have to be happy, because she was such a person that just brought a level of energy and light into a space, and was such a rooter in a chair on that I had to make that happen. And so on March 1st, with tears in my eyes, I signed the contract for me to have my own space, studio space, office space. And I'm still trying to identify what I want to name this baby specifically. Not just the name of my businesses I own, but to give it a name for itself. And shout out to my homie who's been helping me with identifying the name. But, I share that because as I was in the process of working to get this space, my sister gave birth to my nephew. Like, life has been lifing. So I'm giving you an update before I jump into the message. I am now a certified official auntie to the most perfect baby I've ever encountered, and his name is Coden. And Coden has given me such a new perspective on life. Like, having watched my mother leave this earth, literally watching her pass away in front of me, and then literally watch my sister give birth in front of me. I mean, watching him come out the whole hoo-ha and everything. It just gave me like, I have watched the extremes of life. I have been dealing with the extremes of life. So I'm now in this space to where I want to live my life extremely well, extremely loud, with no reservations, no holdback. And even as life has been hitting and kicking, I'm in this extreme place. I don't know about you, but I am in this extreme place. So I share all that to say, as we embark into this space of May 1st, I am excited that the podcast drops on the 1st of the month as I recommit myself and as I refocus. And in this month of May, if you are not aware, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is recognized in this month. And, I truly believe, especially when it comes to the Black and Brown community, it is one of these particular things that we look at as taboo. Is not something that's spoken about, is not something that's talked about often. And I got into this in my podcast before, but I seem not to move away from it, because it's really a thing to where we have to get into a space and place to where we're getting a checkup from the neck up. You're making sure, as much as you check in on your body, that you checking in on your mind. And as someone I literally, since before I had my event back in March, which is my annual Go Getter Mix and Mingle, where I honor women for my birthday celebration and Women's History Month, I started getting sick. Having an upper respiratory infection, and I'm still battling it. And if you can hear my voice, it's not as crystal clear as I would like it to be. Shout out to my mama Dukes. And I've realized, as much as I was going to the doctor to check in on my body to figure out what was going on, because I can tell it was not like itself, we should get into the habit of realizing when my thoughts are not the same and I'm thinking differently or I'm acting differently, habits are not well, mannerisms is off, that we get a checkup on our mental. So in this month, of course, in these podcast episodes, we'll be tapping into that, because one thing about the G Code, where I like to marry music and mental health, motivation too, and we talk all things go-getter and G Codes directly to you, we will be tapping into that. So make sure you just get ready. So share the long story of me trying to do a catch up here and just give you a snippet of where I am mentally. And in this space mentally, going into Mental Health Awareness Month, I believe awareness of self is super key. And as I am making changes within, one of the things I was getting back to is getting a counselor. And can I just talk about how I was so happy that I found a counselor who is a Black woman and who can speak to me and the particular things I face without having to try to explain the things I deal with, whether it's in the corporate space, relationships, living in a particular space. It's so much identifiable information that she can relate to, if that word even makes sense to you. So can I just say I'm just happy to be out of March. I am happy to make it out of April. And I am happy that I am mentally checking in on my mental health and my awareness of self to really make shiggity shake for the month of May. And so on this day 1 of May, I bring back the podcast to talk to you about a thing that has been rattling in my mental for a minute now. And I was talking to my cousin, shout out to Chantel, that brown bag lady of the Brown Bag, who is a directory for the Black and Brown community, their businesses, entities, organizations, nonprofits, everything. So gotta send you a shout out, boo. And I was talking to her the other day, and I will say, I said it like this, like, yo, somebody lied. Yep. Somebody lied. And we were talking about life and what life is and what we perceive it to be and circumstances in life. And I've been saying this in my mental to myself, but I finally said it out loud, and I said it out loud to her, and I said, somebody lied to us. So Adri, what are you talking about? Well, I remember being a young girl and being encouraged to do things a particular kind of way. Let's just use your virginity for an example. As a young girl, you're told to keep your virginity. Don't have sex until you get married. You know, if you were someone growing up in a particular religious household, this was pushed to you heavily, right? Don't do it until you get married. It is better the married than the burn. So you got to get married if you're in a relationship and you guys are doing things so you don't want to mess up. And then they tell you, let's get into education, to go to college so you can get a good job, get a good career, and you go there and things are supposed to work out well. Or they tell you to find a wife, you know, be found by a husband, and you guys are going to live happily ever after. And so we talk about career, we talk about marriage, we talk about, you know, being able to do the right things and right things to come back to you. And I remember one day running off the things of me trying to be a good girl and a perceived good girl, right? To my family, to my mentors. So the idea of keeping my virginity and dating, and then turning that dating into getting married, and then getting married, and focusing in, not having children just yet, go hard in your career to make your career successful, then have kids. And, you try to maneuver in these perceived rules that they give you, all to realize that these perceived rules are lies. Yep. Somebody lied to us. And I say that because as I am watching myself, as I have gone through and matriculated through life and do the things they say you're supposed to do, right? Which is be a woman of character and wholesomeness, right? So this is what I did because I'm growing up in the church. Kept my virginity. Gave that to the man I married. Was in a marriage. Then we went through hell. Got a divorce. Then in this divorce, it's just like, what the freak is going on? So then, of course, I go to college, go to grad school, go hard, chase your dreams, do these internships. And then you get to a place of like, what the freak? It's not working out how I wanted to work out, right? They say, be a good person in the world, sow good seeds, it shall come back to you. And it do. But when you're going through circumstances, you're like, what the freak is this? It's so many things. When I sat down with my friends and we started running it off, that people give you these listings and they romanticize everything, but somebody lie. And what I mean by somebody lie is people fail to tell you that it will not always work out as planned. You may do good things, and it doesn't mean good things are going to come back to you. You may have good intentions and have good hopes that the man or the woman you marry will be your forever people, but that doesn't mean it always will happen. You will have the hopes that you may have a child, but it may be after several miscarriages. You will get the dream, the career, but it may be after you losing everything. And I wish that they will lead first with the disappointments and the possibilities of the hurt and pain you will encounter along the way of looking to reach the things that we romanticize and we think it's beautiful, to have a loving partner and be married for many years and to have this lucrative job or this great career. You're enjoying yourself and there's a level of freedom and everything looks amazing on the surface, but you have no idea what that person went through on the back end, the pain, the hurt, the breakdown that they've encountered. You have this beautiful bouncing baby, but you may have had 10 miscarriages. You have this beautiful 32-year marriage, but before then there was cheating going on and so many things in the marriage before y'all got to a place of amazingness. There was so many no's before your career took off, so many no's before your entrepreneur pursuit has turned into this mega million business. But so many times, just like on social media, all we get is the highlight reels of life. So we believe these highlight reels to be so true that we think that certain things are not supposed to happen to us. But who told us that it wouldn't? Who told us that life would be this peachy, creamy thing that wouldn't render issues? And I really wish as a kid that they would lead with that first, so that you wouldn't go in anticipating certain things to just be like, wow, I didn't expect that to happen. Why is it this hard? And I recently had to have a come to Jesus moment with myself, to where, you have to question, what hard are you going to choose? And I remember someone saying, choose your heart. I forgot where the quote was, who particularly said it, but after a while on social media, everybody just rotating a quote and we don't even know who it owns, who owns it, unless it's in a book. And they said, going to the gym is hard, but being obese is hard. Choose your heart. Chasing your dream can be hard, but being broke is hard. Choose your heart. And it's really a thing of having to choose your heart, because everything is hard. Being in a relationship with someone is hard because you're taking two particular individuals, two different upbringings, two different personalities. No matter how much we try to make them alike, it's possible. There's two different perspectives because we are two different humans. But why do we think that being in a relationship and making things work is not supposed to be hard? Why wouldn't it be? Is it not hard pursuing a dream or a goal? Is it not hard breaking into an industry? Is it not hard building a home? Is it not hard? So why do we feel that so many things it shouldn't be this hard? Because somebody lied to us. They lied to us that there's this picket fence life. They lied to us that entrepreneurship is so sexy. They lied to us that chasing your dream and having that freedom is so amazing. Realizing that you might get your lights cut off, car might get repoed, you driving your car and the insurance has lapsed and you just praying you don't get pulled over. When it comes to the G Code, I've always glorified the struggle more than the glorified story of you making it. Because it is in the struggle, it is in the hard that builds the character, that builds the persistence, that really builds the wins. And it is the hard, that one encounter, that really gives the grit and shows your character as a person to say, wow, you went through all of that, yet you're still here, yet you're still standing. And somewhere in there, you didn't think that it would be this hard or that I could actually go through the things I'm going through. So I'm sharing in this podcast that somebody lied. That in the very early stages, they didn't give us the story that you may fail. Your feelings are going to get hurt. You might get cheated on in business and in your relationship. Working with this person could be extremely difficult. I just really believe if we lead with the end in mind, shout out to, of course, the 7 habits of highly effective people. Leading with the heart in mind. And then making up your mind. Am I going to be committed to the hard first? Then being committed to the good time because it's easy. You know, New Edition has the song that says, "Can you stand the rain?" I just, if you really think about this song, think about the words that they were saying in this song. Can you stand the rain? I just want to marinate on that for a little bit. Actually, I'm going to have to add it to the podcast playlist today. And when you look at this song, not only is it a beautiful song, shout out to Johnny Gill giving us, of course, the amazing vocals within it, Ralph and the rest of the boys. It talks about, can you stand the rain? It's like on a perfect day, I could count on you, baby. But when that's not possible, tell me, can you weather the storm? Because I need somebody who can stand by me through the good times and bad times. She will always be right there. Like sunny days, everybody loves them. But tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Storms will come. This we know for sure. But can you stand the rain? Love unconditional? I'm not asking just of you. And girl, to make it last, I'll do whatever needs to be done. But I need somebody who will stand by me. When it's tough, she won't run. She will always be right there for me. Sunny days, everybody loves them. But tell me, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? Because what we know for sure is going to happen is that them storms going to come. And I think so many times in life, we really believe this sun is going to stand outside. Mr. Sun is going to stand there. And we forget that the storms are guaranteed. Guaranteed. And somebody lied to us in the very beginnings of life that the storms they don't talk to about the storms. They don't say, pack your raincoat. As for me, I live in Buffalo. It is Snow City, Buffer Snow. No one told. If they didn't tell you, make sure you got you a good parka. Okay? Get you some snow pants. You need thermal insulated boots, thermal insulated gloves, thermal insulated hat. You need a face mask. You got to have a good shovel. When you get here, I suggest you get a truck. Don't get no car. Make sure it's all-wheel drive. Make sure you got good tread on your tires. It's expensive, but you have to be prepared for the storms. Winter storms at that. Do you make sure you got lights in here? Candles, just in case you might lose power. Keep some canned goods. Have a gas stove. I'm speaking from my experience of having been stuck and stranded in the home in a storm for the winter in the snow. Had to weather that thing. Okay, we had no power. I had a gas stove. I had to light that joker up. Shout out to making sure I had a lighter and some matches. And I still cooked. And still was enjoying my time. And it was during Christmas. So what if I was not prepared for a storm like that? There were people who died in that storm. And I'm sharing this all because if we truly begin to count the cost of the items and the things we want in life, and knowing that the storms in that particular space are going to come, how do we first prepare for them? How do we think with the end in mind of the storm, of the ups and downs first, of knowing how I can handle them? So then when the great days are there, baby, we are living in it. And even when the storms come, it still could be great because I am prepared. But if somebody lied to you and didn't prepare you for these storms, how will you be fully equipped to achieve them? So in this good midweek, I'm giving you that energy for your energy to understand that somebody lied to us. So I want to give the truth of encouraging you to know that life will life. But what are the life skills that you're going to keep, take, sharpen, and maneuver with to keep you in position to stand 10 toes down, to ensure that you can weather the storms, whether it's in relationships, whether you are fighting and warring within your own self, chasing a dream, dealing in corporate America with directors, CEOs, and bosses who cannot comprehend or stand the light that you give. How are you going to handle these things? Because in any of these spaces, they never said it would be easy. But I don't believe they told us the truth of how hard it would be. Somebody absolutely lied. So I ask you to make sure you no longer lie to yourself. And that right there is your G code, baby. Yeah, somebody lied, but you no longer have to lie to yourself. Life is hard. Everything we are trying to pursue is hard. Dreams, goals, buying a house, buying a new vehicle. There's a process for it all. It's hard, but choose your heart. Somebody lied. That right there is G Code, baby, with me, ADRI.V. And make sure you check in every weekday on a Wednesday as I chop it up with another fellow go-getter, as we give you that energy for your energy, as we talk music, motivation, mental health, and all the G codes and dope things in between. And make sure you leave here G'd up as we give a quick G check in the middle of the week. Listen, I love you so much for tapping in, and I love you for listening. Welcome to the G Code. Be sure to subscribe to the G Code podcast. Find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and all places a podcast lives. Want to catch up on the G Code podcast? Well, go to www.ADRI.V The Go Getta.com and also subscribe on SoundCloud and YouTube. The G Code.
I was born in the G Code, embedded in my blood. Matter of fact, you just triggered a level orange G Code security threat.
And that's the G Code.